Hello everyone, my name is Abigail Thorson and today I'm going to be speaking on the road to Nordstrom. I'd first like to start out with a quote from Estee Lauder that says, "I never dreamed about success, I worked for it." So, what does working for it look like? I'm going to take you through what working for it has looked like for me and what it will continue to look like for me. I'm first going to start out with my research, then I'm going to show you a little bit of my analysis, and then finally how I'm going to apply all of this into my future. Part 1, the job field. When I was researching, I obviously needed to figure out what kind of jobs I wanted, what the titles were going to be like, kind of where exactly I wanted to go when I first started this research process. So I went to FITM to be a buyer. So there are multiple titles that can be associated with a buyer and different levels of being a buyer. Some of these include merchandise assistant, merchandise manager, a buyer, and so forth. So when I was looking, I tried to look for these terms and things that apply to these job titles. While researching, I came across varying job postings and articles. Some of the articles I came across were from Business of Fashion, HuffPost, The Guardian, and they gave me a lot of great insights as they interviewed varying buyers from high-up companies and allowed me to really understand what being a buyer is like from someone who actually is a buyer. I also found job postings on sites such as Indeed and Glassdoor, where I was able to see the actual qualifications and skills that are required when going into a job and what they're looking for from a buyer prior to going to the interview. Part 2, the skill set. While reading these articles and these job postings, I discovered that a lot of them have a lot of requirements and skills that are in common. It was great being able to read articles on buyers who are in the industry currently and what to expect from being in the industry. Some of these requirements and skills include being good with money and budgeting, work quickly and under pressure yet still being able to perform well, predicting and analyzing trends, trusting your gut, knowing your customer, having a BA or a BS, or having 1 to 2 years of experience within the buying field, being analytical, having great negotiation skills, while also being creative and technical all at the same time. So where do I currently stand within the industry? I currently work as a merchandise assistant intern for TJX companies in the activewear department. I have my AA in merchandise and marketing from FITM. I'm proficient in Microsoft Excel, Word, and PowerPoint. I have years of retail experience. I was a production assistant for a small company for a year. I have PR and celebrity styling experience. I have strong verbal and written communication skills, and I'm very analytical. So the question is, am I qualified? I would say yes, for most positions I am qualified. I will say that there are obviously areas that I can't do because I don't have the requirements such as a bachelor's degree or having great negotiation skills or really knowing how to work all the systems of Excel within being a buyer. However, like I said, I am working on getting that experience right now and really honing in on those skills. So yes, I would say that I am qualified for almost all the positions, but I will say with confidence that there are definitely areas that I need to improve on. Being able to hit all the requirements and skills that are on these job postings is really important, especially as I start to look into my future and into what my ideal company and dream job would be. So to move on to part 3, the ideal company, which is Nordstrom. I would love to be a buyer at Nordstrom, specifically in the wedding suite department as a bridal wear buyer. Some things for why I love Nordstrom and I think it'd be a great fit for me and why I think it's a great company is because it's very reputable and it has very strong company values. They pride themselves in their employees' happiness as well as the workplace culture, and this has made them Fortune's 100 best companies to work list for 20 years in a row. I also love that they have an inverted pyramid approach where the customers come first and then it goes down to management. So they really want to make sure that everyone is happy and that there isn't a lot of delegating from managers down. It's that everyone is on the same page and everyone is an equal. And I think that having a great culture and workplace environment is very important and is something that is really important to me as someone who is looking for jobs and companies to work for. Part 4, my plan of action. Obviously, to work at a dream company such as Nordstrom, there are some short-term and long-term goals that need to be put in place and a plan of action to get there. So for me, this plan of action looks a little something like this. I want to continue working for TJX and work my way up in the company. I would love to be flipped over to a merchandise assistant position once I am done with my internship, which is something that TJX loves to do with their interns after their internship is done. Then I'd like to work my way up to be an assistant buyer for them and get a couple years of experience in that. Within that time, I will also be receiving my bachelor's degree, so I will be getting my 1 to 2 year experience while also getting my bachelor's degree, which is a huge requirement for a lot of the buying positions I looked into. Then I would love to start working at a bridal company and be a buyer for them to get that bridal experience. So I'll then have buying experience and also bridal experience. Then I will start beginning to look at job applications and postings for Nordstrom. Then once I get hired, I will start out in any department that they want me to start out in and eventually work my way up again into the bridal department. So my key takeaways from this research project. The first one is that most companies require an entry-level position first, or that you have worked within an entry-level position. Most of the time they won't let you just come right in if you have no prior experience, which going back to that experience is key within this. It also is very possible to work your way up in a company. This is something that through researching different companies that I saw that so many companies love to have people work their way up. I also realized that a lot of skills are required, but it's also very attainable to get these skills. This isn't something that's impossible. You just need to work for it and be willing to work hard. And the last is that you must have experience, as I keep saying. Having experience within the buying field, I found out, is one of the top priorities, because without experience, you might be proficient in Excel, but that doesn't mean that you know how to apply it within the buying field. So this is something that for me, I really realized, and I'm so grateful for that now I work for TJX so that I can gain all of that experience. Thank you so much for listening and watching along with my road to Nordstrom.